each help make each other a little bit better at the end of the day. So listen intently, because there are some major leadership takeaways that we can all take to heart as we are moving along on our own journeys. So let's get into it. Here are the 3 big takeaways from today's conversation. Number 1, the importance of teaching and molding future leaders. For Gregg, being a leader in the restaurant industry unlocks so many skills that are transferable to other roles, other industries, and to our own personal growth. And because this industry is often an entry level to a longer career, it's important to teach and develop from early on. Number 2, despite the freaky fast growth of Craveworthy brands, it's always a good idea to stay connected and be grateful for all that comes your way. The good things that catapult you forward and the bad things that teach you lessons. And number 3, as tempting as it might be, never lower your quality just to scale faster. Quality is important to Gregg Majewski, and as Craveworthy continues to expand, his biggest sticking point is to maintain the food quality and the level of hospitality. If those 2 elements disappear, then guess what? So might your customers. So stop what you're doing, listen to this episode, and subscribe to Room for Seconds for weekly inspiration with more content like what you're about to hear. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the episode.
Look, a lot of you know Gregg. He's been very, very generous to our team, sending out lunch to us. He spent some time in our office hanging out with us. So we know him from somewhat of a distance. And I don't say this for a lot of people. Aside from Gregg being a very dear friend of mine, he is a titan of the industry. And he's going to laugh when I say that. But the work that Gregg has accomplished along with his team over the last 18 to 24 months is pretty unprecedented as far as I'm concerned. It looks like, and Gregg, you can correct me on the numbers here, but you've gone from somewhere around 0 to 3 concepts to upwards of 14 now, if my math is right.
Yep.
Yeah. Gregg is not much for a lot of words there. Yep.
Yeah.
All yes and no questions. Okay, then we're just going to dive in, Gregg, so we can hear you talk a little bit more. So we do this every other week where the team gets together and we listen to operators sort of share their thoughts on the industry and their thoughts on the restaurant business, just as a way to get us to be more motivated and think outside the box. So on behalf of the team, thank you for being here and taking the time to talk with us. So why don't we start with an easy one for you and tell us what excites you about the restaurant industry?
So the thing that makes this industry so special is that you get to mold and grow first job, people who are taking their first job. So the restaurant industry has always been a stepping stone. It's where high school kids, college kids, and everyone has to go and get their first experience of how they work and first opportunity to earn money. And to me, that is the greatest challenge because you're the first group that get to install in them any sort of work ethic or belief or culture that they get to go on and build upon in their lives and where they take from you. Everybody remembers their first job. Everybody remembers that first experience. And so when we get somebody that has chosen to work for us and it is that first opportunity, we want to go above and beyond to teach them, hey, how to be punctual, how to treat your employees, how to treat a customer, how to be able to get through situations that are so horrible at times because consumers can be mean, and how you're supposed to treat people continually. And that's on us. And if you do a good job on it, those people are going to look back over the next, 20 and 30 years. Man, I had this job that taught me the importance of being on time, taught me the importance of treating people with the same level of respect that I want to be treated with all the time. And to me, that's what makes this industry so exciting, is that you mold the next generation of leaders. And for all we know, the next president or, the next Steve Jobs is coming into our restaurant. So if we can install in them something great that they can take later, that makes it all worthwhile.
I think that's a great answer. And I share the sentiment. One thing that I've sort of found differently, and I'm curious on your thought of it, is I agree with everything you said, and no disrespect to the younger people on this call, but now coming out of COVID, less people want to join the restaurant industry. And then you're getting people joining the restaurant industry who aren't looking at it as a first job or as a stepping stone. And they're doing it more because they have to than they want to. So I don't know if the younger generation or the people who are joining the industry right now are coming for that same passion that you just spoke of. So how do you convey that message of, we can teach you such building blocks for your next career and for your next opportunity, when they feel disinterested? How do you combat that? How does the team, create that passion?
So, I mean, that comes from the leadership above and the leadership in the store. If you love what you do and the leader of your restaurant loves what they do and they're passionate about building their team day in and day out, you do it without even trying to do it. If every day your job as a leader is to make someone better than what they were the day before and give them feedback the day before, that culture just builds. And you're not going to have the kids today know that you're even doing it. You have to do it because you're doing the right thing by them day in and day out. And a great leader sits there and sets the expectation and the goals for their staff every day to teach them something else, to give them some sort of feedback. And it can be something as simple as saying, hey, you did a great job when you addressed customer Y. Yeah, I know she got a little offhand. Just make sure you look at her in her eyes and nod your head that you understand when she's yelling at you. It's hard to be yelled at, but give them the respect to that. You just sit there and nod your head, and look them in the eyes as they're doing it. It's that little bit of customer service that is forgotten. And then you treat them with respect. And when they go and have their job interview, and they may think the guy's a complete idiot that's interviewing them, but you learn, just look at them in the eye, have eye contact, nod your head, that you're paying attention, that you're in depth in what they're talking about. And those type of things are just led by a great leader of the org. Your GM in a restaurant is the most important hire. And if your GM isn't constantly looking at ways to make you better, you're never going to get there. And then your store is always going to go like this. And those great GMs are what drives the next great leader and builds the team continually. I mean, look at your Wabaos or look at Lettuce as a whole. The best GMs of all of those organizations are constantly building up the next great leader. The next great GM is coming from them. And every organization has that. You can look at your stars. They're the ones that build your team. It's so important.
I like the answer, and I'm going to nod and smile as you're talking, but I have to pause and give a shout out to Brutus behind you, since my wife's a Buckeye. Don't think I don't see little Brutus on your shelf there.
The Ohio State makes me a lot of money. That's why he's there.
We do have one person on the phone, Blaze, who went to Michigan, and he's very happy for the fact that, they did better than Ohio State this year. All right. Talk to us then about inspiration. Where do you find it? Who do you follow? How do you stay motivated? And what inspires you?
So, I mean, the biggest motivation that I continually have is I look at other people in the industry and how they treat their teams and how they're growing and how they're building. I've been very, very lucky the last, 4 or 5 years to be able to surround myself by individuals that motivate me every day and give me feedback and friendship and stuff like that. Outside of the industry, obviously you follow Elon Musk, you follow the people that are always the big guys in the news, and you're like, oh, wow, they did something really cool, or they say that. But what I've learned over my life is that if you can surround yourself by a group of friends that are all sort of going through the same things you're going through, and that you can ask them the questions and ask for honest feedback and have people that will help you through it, that's where I get most of the stuff that I get and how I stay motivated. By seeing Geoff's success every day, or seeing Andre's success every day, or Zach from Ovation, and seeing them work as hard as I do. There's not many people that fight through the things that we have to fight through every day. And that's what motivates me, is knowing that there's always somebody else that I can call and get help with and ask for advice, and will be there when I need it. And all of our jobs are that same way. And it's so important. And it took me a while to learn that it's okay to be vulnerable to other people, to ask for advice, because you're not going to know all the answers. And to surround yourself by people that you can trust, that will give you honest feedback and not try to sabotage you as you're trying to move up in a company or move up in your careers.
Well, being one of those people who share a lot of conversation with you, you've been extremely generous in sharing your insights and thoughts and on a lot of stuff that other people don't know. So thank you for that. Talk to us about hospitality. You just mentioned, looking someone in the eye and sort of taking it on the chin just so that person can get through their day. But how do you define hospitality, and how do you look at hospitality?
I think hospitality is everything that the restaurant industry is supposed to be. Food is forgettable in most places, but you'll remember great hospitality, you'll remember great service. And so to me, I look at, and I use Disney all the time as that example. If you can be as happy and as kind to the amount of people that walk through those parks every day that are grouchy and hot and sweaty, but they can install that culture that makes you feel special when you get on a ride or makes that little kid's dream come true. That's where that I think it's so important. If we can do the same thing when someone comes into our restaurant and make them feel like we're truly thankful that they chose us over the millions of competitors that we have, and go above and beyond to just say thank you, that consumer remembers that for the end of time. And I joke all the time is that when they come in the door, we want to blow them away. And when the customer walks out the door, we want to slap them on the ass a little bit and make sure they know how much we care about them, just like a football coach or a player, and say thank you. So when they walk out the door, they get that little shimmy going, oh my God, they really wanted me here. And that's opening the door for them when they leave and just saying thank you. It's whatever goes above and beyond that we can do to make them remember that we were thankful that they were there.
And be clear,
hospitality
you're not smacking them on the ass.
25 years ago, maybe, but not now. No. But again, it's you want to make them feel like they're special, and hospitality is all about that. It's going above and beyond to give your guests something that makes them feel you generally care. And it's horrible that today that's as simple as saying yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, when they're ordering or asking you a question. I have staff that looks at me when I'm in the restaurant and I say yes sir, no sir to customers that are younger than me, and they're like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because that's the way I was taught. It's the only way that I know how to be when I'm in a restaurant, and that's how we should be. We should treat everybody with that level of respect because they chose us. We're working for them when they choose to dine in our establishment, or when your vendors or your customers make a phone call to you and they're irate because they can't get X. It's how do we stay calm and take care of that problem today for them? That's hospitality. How do we make it right?
So I've seen, at Lollapalooza last year, you spent a lot of time working on the fryers and making a lot of the chicken. And there was a picture on LinkedIn recently that one of your people posted how you were in one of the restaurants cooking, doing it. Why do you get so hands-on? Why is that so important to you?
Because I want my team to always know that I'll do everything that they have to do and more to make and no job is above what I do, or above what they do. And to me, that's the most important thing that a leader can always show, is that you'll go in and get as dirty as they do every day in whatever field you're in. And that's something I learned from my dad. My dad works and owns a factory, and he still goes out and packs parts every day, or he'll still go and run a machine every day. And he does that because it's the right thing to do, but it's also to let his employees know that and tell them that he's thankful that for the jobs that they do, because it is hard. And it's jobs that a lot of people don't want. And if they see a CEO or a president or an RD or a manager who's not willing to do the job that their underlings do, you're never going to earn the respect from your team. And that's important to me, and it always has been. And I love doing it because I love getting to know them and, and spending that time with them. And what's magical about it is if you do it and you're sincere when you do it, you build a team and a culture that will run through walls for you and will do anything that you ask. So that team at Lollapalooza this year was a new team, and all of them are working at different restaurants. And when I walk into a restaurant, they all start yelling LFA, and we make jokes about saying papas and everything else, but they're so in tune that everybody hears the story that you outcooked them. And that when you then jump in and you do it, you have their respect when you're telling them, hey, no, you got to do it this way. They know you know what you're doing.
I'm Gregg Majewski, and I've been a multi-unit operator for 26 years. I know how great it feels owning the right franchise brand, but choosing the right franchisor feels even better. At Craveworthy Brands, our hospitality-driven culture sets us apart because we're invested in your success at every single stage of your journey. We're operators alongside you, paving the way forward to give you a head start on greatness. Start your franchise journey at craveworthybrands.com.
I agree 100%. Okay, so I started this conversation off by talking about how in just a few short months, 18 or so, you've gone from 3 different brands to 12, 14, maybe even more. Talk to us just about that journey and that incredible growth and, sort of a couple of the highs and a couple of lows of what's gone on for you and the team in the last year and a half, 2 years.
So when we started in January of last year and we announced Craveworthy, I never in my wildest dream would have thought we'd become the media darling to say that we are. Like I never thought the lights would have been shown on us as bright because I made a little announcement that I took 3 emerging brands and combined them into a bigger brand. And from that moment, it's sort of been like this weird rocket ship that has continued to grow and has sped up our growth at such a fast rate that the growth is sometimes very nerve wracking and very stressful because you're growing at a pace now and had the opportunities to grow where new problems are coming at you faster and faster than you team is ever ready for. And those are the challenges. And you have the highs and lows of the economy that are now battling us and people, in stores that are underperforming because they're in blue collared areas and the economy's not there and you don't have the numbers to make work because unfortunately blue collared America is hurting. You, it has been a truly amazing ride in a short amount of time. To be able to have what you're building sort of blessed and acknowledged by some of the biggest that have ever been in the industry coming up to you and asking to join your board is, mind numbing. And it just shows that if you treat people right and you stay on mission and you always do what you say you're going to do, you're eventually going to come out as the big winner. And that's really what the year's been about, is that I've never deviated from the way I am or how I treat people. And I've lost a ton of times in my career from people taking advantage of that or stuff like that. And then this year, it all sort of clicked because everything that I've ever worked for sort of was acknowledged by so many and repaid tenfold. And that ride has been amazing.
I love it. I love it. So talk to us about team. You've had this unbelievable rapid growth, so you need to add to your team, and adding people to the team obviously is time consuming, as well as making sure you're making the right decisions. And then there's quite a bit of cost involved as you're trying to grow to that team. How do you know when it's time to add to the team, and what position? And are you reactive? Are you hiring because there's a need, or are you being proactive and thinking, I need this person because this is coming? Talk to us a little bit of what team means to you and how you go about making it happen, especially because they're all going to watch this afterwards.
So, team is the most important part of what makes us go. If you have a crappy team in any org, you're going to fail. And no matter who's leading the organization, if the team's not up to it, you're going to fall short. You need to build a culture that is in place where the team knows that you truly appreciate them and that you respect them and that you go to work every day to fight for them. Once that culture is sort of established, then building the team is a heck of a lot easier than it is if that's not there. I've been fortunate that I've been able to build the team a heck of a lot quicker than most companies because I've spent 26 years in the industry, and everyone that I've worked with in the past, when I started doing this, started looking out for who should be on here. So the team that we assembled quickly is amazing. Then it's to maintain and at the level of growth as you want to be. You can't be hiring reactively. You got to be hiring for where you want to be 2 and 3 years from now. And that's the hardest part, is that you have to eat that cost for a little bit to get to where you want to go in the next 2 to 3 years. So we're constantly looking at adding the next person that will help us in the next 2 to 3 years and getting them up to speed and ready. And if good people come available, I'll make a hire even though I don't need them yet because I want that person on the team. I will go ahead and invest in the future because I know where we're going to be in the next 3 to 4 years. So I'm different, is that I'll take a pay cut or I'll forgive debt or bonus or put more money into my company to get somebody to come work for me for a little bit, because I know how important it is that I have that around me to do what I want to do. And I also take care of my team extremely well, in the fact that I'm not afraid to overpay to get people to join that I want on my team because I know they're going to perform. I'm also quick to let go of people if they're not performing. Because if I'm going to bring you in and I'm going to gamble on you and you're not working, I'm going to remove you because I took a gamble and I put my reputation on the line if I bring you in.
And we should just throw out here right now that there's an agreement that you don't hire any of my people because all they heard is you hire big and pay well. So everyone don't bother going to call Gregg out.
I've got a whole email. They're all emailing right now.
They're in the chat that they took me off of. Okay. Another question for you, and then we're going to jump into a speed round since we're getting close on time. With all that you have going on and the success that you've had, what's keeping you up at night?
Right now, the only thing that would keep me up is the economy. Because I own a manufacturing company that serves that world and is a producer for the auto and aerospace and medical industries. I've seen the slowdown start last year. And when the blue collar workers and those type of factory jobs start to slow down, restaurants start to feel it between 6 and 8 months later. So we had that sort of hit us in the factory side last March. And sure enough, come July, August, and September, the economy changed. You started seeing restaurants down for the first time in a long time. The good news is that we're starting to get orders again, and that's ramping back up, which means that within 6 months, everything starts to change again. But the economy is always what I'm worried about. That's the biggest thing, because if our consumers don't have money to spend on a luxury, and eating out is a luxury these days because of the cost of the product, if they don't have the disposable income to do it, you're going to lose a sale. You're going to lose a time. And if you're not the best of the best, if you're not Chipotle, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, you could lose a whole rotation spot because they only have 1 or 2 times a month that they can go out and eat. That worries me.
I can't help you with that one. I'm sorry. But I did skip one of my questions. So I have to back up before I get to the speed round. And I actually skipped it on purpose, but I'm going to make you answer it now. So when you have this growth that you're having, you know, when we're going through it a number of different ways, is quality becomes an issue, right? You have scale and growth at speed, but you got to maintain quality. Talk to us about how you maintain quality, how you don't have sacrifice during that growth. And I'm going to ask you to talk about, you know, how angry I am about the Bud Long biscuit that you changed, but why you changed it in order to ensure quality.
So if your food is inconsistent, your consumers won't come back. And so to me, having the quality of the product be able to be maintained and at an even keel and the same every time they come in is the most important. Consumers notice when you cheapen the product. And Geoff brought up the biscuit. And unfortunately, that biscuit had to go because it took one person to make that biscuit all day to make the biscuits for, you know, a couple of days in the restaurant. And it was not duplicatable or replicable on a franchise level.
It was damn delicious.
It was the best biscuit in the world. Food cost was also like 500%. But we have to make sure that the product and the level that the product is able to be maintained as you go across the board. So for you all, it's like if you were to go and change the chicken in a Wow Bao and go to a lesser quality product, your consumer is going to know that you cheapen the product. And all you hear today is from consumers saying, oh my God, Portillo's cut the beef. It's not as big as it used to be, or the hot dog's smaller, or Chick-fil-A is not giving me the same amount, or Jimmy John's has lowered the weight of the sandwich. There's not as much meat on it. We're all looking for ways to improve our bottom line, and we're sacrificing what the consumer has gotten accustomed to. And it's more important for you to find a way to charge what your product is worth and maintain that level of quality, because quality always ends up winning in the restaurant game. It always does. And you may have the higher priced item for a short amount of time, and you may feel it. Like right now, we're feeling it. because we're higher price, it will win you long-term guests, because when they go and eat, and I'll throw out a competitor, when you go and eat Dave's Hot Chicken compared to Budlong, you don't feel very good afterwards. When you go and eat Budlong, because we haven't done some of the things that we could to cheapen our product, you don't feel like you had a gut bomb all day. And that is done intentionally to make sure that my product stays better. And consumers will reward me for that. And I'll die on that one. I won't sacrifice that.
Okay. Don't die, but don't sacrifice. All right. Speed round. You ready?
Sure.
Since you're wearing Jimmy John's clothing, tell us what makes a great sandwich.
Mayo and the bread.
Okay. Shoestring or waffle fry?
Waffle.
American or United?
American.
I had this question planned ahead of time, but you messed me up, but I'm going to ask it anyway. On Saturdays and Sundays, do you wear non-branded Craveworthy clothing?
Yes. Usually Kentucky.
Can you name all of your brands?
Yes.
Do it.
You want me to?
Yes.
Genghis Grill, BD's, Mongolian Flat Top, Budlong Hot Chicken, Crafted Burger and Bar, Wing It On, Lucky Cat, Patsitsa, Tsum Tsum, Scrambling Eggs, and as of this week, Dirty Dough Cookies are the 11 announced brands.
I think you missed a hamburger brand.
No, Crafted Burger and...
Oh, you said it? Okay. 11.
Yep.
All right. Good job. Last meal you ordered it in, and from what delivery service?
So let's see. Last meal I ordered in would have been DoorDash was the delivery service, and a pizza concept right by my house, little mom and pop.
Okay. I'm going to go back to your brands for a second. Which one are you most excited about for 2024?
Budlong and Tsum Tsum. So the neck and neck.
All right. What would the title be of your autobiography?
Never give up.
Okay. If you could grab coffee with anybody, alive or dead, but not a relative, who would it be?
Elon Musk, because the man has been able to stir the pot in so many different industries and so many different avenues. And I'm trying to get my hand in so many different restaurants that it takes a very sick mind to be able to compartmentalize all of that. And I want to know how he does it.
Okay. Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, or Nick Saban are all available right now. Who would you hire to coach your team?
Saban.
Okay. Last question. What's your final message or thought that you want to leave this team before we disconnect?
You guys have something extremely cool and amazing that you guys are building as a collective group. It's not easy, and you're going to have things and setbacks that come in and affect you all. But what you guys have an opportunity to do is something that only happens to a handful of companies that started the way you guys started. Continue to work as a team and continue to stay focused and believe in each other, because at times it's going to get very, very hard. And you all have an exceptional opportunity to end this on a height that will be remembered for a long, long time, but also give your company and yourselves an opportunity for greater things once it happens. Wow Bao will be an incredible stepping stone for all of you because of the leadership and what you guys have gone through. Learn as much as you can, and then when it's time, you'll know. But stay and ride it out, because it's going to be an incredible journey.
Hey viewers, thanks again for supporting Room for Seconds. If you found this episode inspiring, interesting, or any bit informative, please hit that little subscribe button down at the bottom so you never miss an episode. In my 26 years in this amazing industry, I've been blessed with incredible mentorship. This show is my way of giving back. Follow me on LinkedIn, search Gregg Majewski, on Twitter, @Gregg_Majewski. If you still have room for more, visit our website at media.craveworthybrands.com. You'll find more videos, shows, notes, blogs, resources, and an easy way to get in touch with the Craveworthy Brands team. I'm your host, Gregg Majewski. Thanks again for tuning in to Room for Seconds.